Welcome to Just Saying, a podcast produced by and recorded at Tri-State Worship Center. Now here are your hosts, Allison Gardner and Pastor Terry Wagner.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Just Saying podcast. My name is Allison Gardner.
Hello, Allison.
Hello. I'm here with the person who just said hello, Pastor Terry Wagner.
It was a little early.
A little early.
It wasn't even an
I was
interruption.
expecting it, though. I paused.
Pre-interruption.
I was anticipating, and I missed my mark.
Anticipatory interruption. I don't know.
Big fancy word.
I'm just saying words.
That
You're
sounds
more
like
smarter.
somebody that's good or smarter.
Good or smarter, Tyler.
I'm getting gooder at being smart.
Tie.
But yes, I'm here with Pastor Terry Wagner.
Hi, Allison.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Done with school for the
Done with
semester.
school.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Very proud. I mean that.
Thank
I am
you.
proud of you.
I appreciate it. And we're also
Who
here-
else is in the room with us?
Well, Ty, obviously.
That's me.
Could we do it without Ty? No.
We could not.
Honestly, we could
I have
not.
tried.
We would
cannot.
fail.
We cannot.
Epically.
I think you'd eventually catch on.
No.
You guys are pretty smart at being
Good or
We're
smarter.
good or smarter because we
Wait
both
a
got
second.
degrees from Marshall. Well, I got a degree from Marshall. Allison's working on one.
Yeah.
I got a degree.
You did?
98.6.
98.6.
Oh,
That's a little high, isn't it?
so yeah.
I am a little warm today.
A little hot. A little perspiring.
I'm a little
Ooh.
perspiration. But I think, I don't know if you guys obviously can't see those that are listening, but I got a little sun this weekend.
You did.
Oh, man.
While we were in the Tennessee.
The Tennessee.
The Tennessee.
Playing sports ball.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Trade-
Sports ball.
Trademark sports ball.
Yeah.
If we see anybody using it out
Exactly.
there, we're taking you
We're
to court.
coming after you.
Coming soon to...
And then we're going to buy our merch.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Coming soon to a Walmart near you. Sports ball
Sports ball.
By who?
That'd have to be a
by
huge.
Tyler
like-
and Sean.
Yeah, Tyler and Sean.
Yeah.
TNS.
TNS.
Anyways, what are we here for today?
Why are we here?
What
We're here.
are we doing here?
We are here to look at life change through the lens of Scripture.
Yes,
Boom, boom,
sir.
boom.
Yes, sir. We've this season of the Just Saying podcast, season 5.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes, has been us just talking to people.
Can I say just real quickly that someone recently began listening to the podcast from the beginning and messaged me the other day and said, I listened to the podcast and it is very informative.
Good.
Nice.
Very
And
good.
I said, that's
Well,
nice.
welcome.
Yeah.
Yes,
where you
where you
been?
been?
In.
But that's great. I'm
Yeah.
happy that
Yeah.
we're still getting new listeners.
That's
and
awesome, yeah.
That's why we do this, just to connect with people and hopefully be a
I do
resource.
it because I like the sound of my voice.
Yeah, we knew that.
But-
But
Yeah, sometimes I walk in the church and I just find him in here just
talking.
talking to himself.
And today I am wearing a flannel.
Yes, with snap buttons.
He started coming in here for his prayer time. He puts his headphones on him and prays
Dear
to the microphone.
God. It's like that video.
That video.
The video, yes.
Thank you, Lord. God, I just need some help on my job. Oh, Lord.
God of heaven.
Thank you for blessing me with so many saplings.
Saplings. Yeah. For people that have never seen that video, they're sitting in their rooms or
Yeah.
cars right now going,
Thinking, what are they
doing? What are they talking about?
It's all right. Just skip,
I think it's called Godco Prayer. Look it up on YouTube.
Oh,
you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
There you go.
It's a spoof,
Yeah.
as you might call it,
Yeah.
or a satirical. Spoof
Come on,
is probably
dear.
best.
Listen, you're getting you're getting too good or smarter now.
Of the Geico commercials, and it's a voiceover guy who makes this guy's simple prayer a little bit more.
Right.
ostentatious.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a great word.
Wow, you really did learn a lot this year at Marshall. Ostentatious. My goodness.
But yeah, anyways, welcome to the podcast, guys.
Hey, everybody.
We this season we have been interviewing people about their life change and really their testimony of their walk with Christ. And today we have another very special guest.
Very special.
VIP
That's
Jerry
our-
Wagner.
Jerry Wagner.
Jerry.
Wait a minute,
Wait a
that's
minute.
my last name.
If you didn't know, PT has some siblings whose names rhymes with his name. And Jerry is one of them.
Jerry is my bro,
Your bro.
my real bro.
Yes, for real.
A brother from the same
Blood.
mother.
Blood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blood brothers.
Blood brother. Ooh. No. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Jerry is, I am the second oldest in our family. My brother Ronnie is the oldest, and then there are a set of twins that are younger than me by about almost 2 years, and that's Jerry and Larry.
Yep.
And Jerry is with us in studio.
In studio, yes.
That's brought to you today by Chicken Ramen Noodles.
Raymond.
Or ramen.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Raymond.
And Nilla wafers. Wait, no, wait. We don't have Nilla wafers, do we?
No, we don't. Where'd you get that
Toasty Lance crackers.
Yes, Lance crackers.
from? Oh.
Anyway,
Oreo.
Yeah.
welcome, Jerry.
Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, we're glad to have you. Why don't you just introduce yourself for the people who don't know you?
Hey,
Hey.
I'm Jerry Wagner.
That's Jerry.
I'm Pastor Terry's brother.
You
Give us a
are.
little background. Give us where you came from.
Grew up in Indianapolis. About 33 years old, I moved from Indianapolis up to the Chicagoland area, and that was my life-changing part of my life where I rededicated. Moved up there with my brother Ronnie. Stayed up there for about 10 years, and then eventually, me and Terry started talking. I come through here on my way through to some customers out in Virginia. Me and the wife really liked the area, and lo and behold, we've been here for about 18 years now.
Wow. Very cool.
What we have to back up just a little bit and unpack the first 33 years.
Oh boy,
Oh, goodness.
He was hoping not to talk about that.
you got less than 40
Well,
minutes.
no, I figure by the time you're done with this answer, we're done.
Yeah. We got it. This one's easy.
Grew up with 5 brothers. Attended church. It's almost like it's an echo because a lot of the things that I would say you've already said
Season
from the
1,
pulpit.
episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Mom made us go to church. Dad made us go to church, and so we were churched.
Yes.
And so we spent about 18 years in church, and eventually I fell away and went into the music business and thought that I was going to live my dream. And I realized that it wasn't God's ideal for me to become a sinner. And so,
What?
Wait a minute.
And so I trashed my life for about 13 years. And then back in 98, sitting in a parking lot at an apartment complex was one of the very few times I ever heard God's voice. And he basically told me, you better go. So he kind of backed me up in a corner. I had no options. It was either grave or penitentiary. And so I thought, yeah, I should go. And that was a huge change in my life. It's been the greatest change of my life. And it's been a wonderful experience to see that God is real.
Yeah.
You may have to keep a spiritual eye open for him, but God is real, and he's proved himself over the last 20 years of being back in church that when you seek him, you can see him, and that's pretty awesome.
Amen.
Yeah. That's definitely pretty cool. So, can you unpack for us how exactly the difference happened? So you're raised in church. What do you think happened that caused you to fall away? And then how has that foundation that your parents set in your upbringing, how have you seen that sort of the fruit of that later in life? Since you're a Christian now. So obviously they did something right.
Yeah.
So unpack that for us a little bit.
As far as leaving the church, I think it's the most common thing that happens to people when they leave the church. I was hurt. And when I got hurt, I said, I'm not going to go to church anymore. And so when that happened, a lot of things started happening in my mind that eventually made me believe that God wasn't real. This was all just a show, and that I could do a lot better off on my own. And so that's what I did. I went off on my own and found out that Satan had a lot to offer. I made good money playing music, which was my passion. That's what I loved to do. That's what I thought I would always do. And Satan put a lot of things out there that was very tempting to me, that was very appetizing to me, and I thought I was having the time of my life. But eventually, the true Satan comes out, and you start seeing yourself crash. And I think in that time of, is it real or is it not real? Because I'm a logical person. I'm really black and white. Most people don't even like me because I'm so black and white. So I need proof. I need something I can touch. And in that time, just thinking about my mother, it caused me to go into a deep depression because I knew that what I was doing was killing my mom. It was hurting my dad. It was hurting my mom. And when I would start thinking about all the things that she had done for us growing up, because I think, obviously Pastor was there. My mom went through so much. I don't think I could have done what my mom done. Five boys running the business and this, that, and another. And even though I would look at someone and say, God's not real. Don't talk to me about God. Don't talk to me about going to church. I've done that. There was something that was so deep inside that just wouldn't let it go. And it would always tell me, you're not being truthful with yourself. You don't, you know what's real.
Yeah.
And on the outside, I didn't believe in God.
Yeah.
But the way I was raised, it never left me.
Right.
And so on the inside, I knew I was doing wrong.
Right.
There came a point where I was with the wrong people. I was with some big time criminals, and I owed a lot of money, and there were some other things going on, and I knew it was time to change my life, or it was over for me. I had gotten deep into drugs. I was dealing a lot of drugs. Alcohol was every day, waking up, going to bed, drinking, playing music 6 nights a week. And over a course of time, I had put myself in a situation where there were people that wanted to do away with me. And that's where we come to the parking lot at the apartment complex. I was sitting there about 3 o'clock in the morning. I have an older brother that was also a pastor. Him and his senior pastor had came where I was playing music a couple times. And this is a God story for sure. I would tell the agency, when these two characters call, don't tell them where I'm playing. And they would always show up. You know Pastor Peyton.
Characters.
Yeah. So anyway, I was sitting in this parking lot, and I kept hearing this voice because I knew that I had to do something. And I just kept hearing this voice, if you'll just go. All you got to do is go. And I sat there thinking, I don't believe in God. God can't be talking to me. And I just over and over, if you'll just go, I'll take care of you, and I'll set your path. And about 3 hours later, I called my brother Ronnie, who had always wanted me to move up north. And I just told him, come get me. He says, man, I can't get there until Tuesday. I said, I'll be gone Tuesday. And then his boss, his senior pastor, grabbed the phone and said, where are you at? And I told him. And they turned the van around right then and there and came and got me. I left Indianapolis with a trash bag of some clothes, a couple harmonicas, and my bass guitar. And that's what I left with.
Wow.
And since then, God has been so amazing for me. He has done exactly what he said he would do. He took good care of me.
Wow. That's awesome.
He's a good father.
Man.
I do think that the Lord spoke to you, but I wouldn't be surprised either if when we get to heaven, if Peyton said that was really me in the back seat saying to you, you guys just have to know David Peyton. He's passed on. He passed away just a couple months ago, as a matter of fact. And he would have been that guy that would have hidden in someone's back seat to scare them to Jesus. I mean, he would do it. But
hey, it worked.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's amazing.
Tell us about you said you left with the bag of clothes and a couple of harmonicas, a bass guitar. I mean, you're involved in the worship team here at Tri-State Worship Center. just what does music mean to you? What does that do for you? What does it mean to you?
The passion for music is to me, is beyond this world. No matter what's going on with me or anyone that enjoys music, you can put that to the side, and you don't have to think about that no more because you got this love for music. And it still amazes me today, probably always will, that you can take a piano, you could take a guitar, you can take a set of drums, and you master this sound that can move you. And out of all the things that I've done in my life, music is probably to me the most important thing, because it was a thing that was given to me where now I realize I can make a difference to others. And I don't have to talk, I don't have to know sound, I don't have to preach, I don't have to be gooder, smarter. I can just be me with the music, and I can literally see at times where it has changed people's lives. To me, I enjoy music so much because just to be able to take 2 or 3 notes or 2 or 3 chords and make a rhythm or make a melody and put words to it, to me is the most exciting thing that you can do.
Yeah, definitely. I think it speaks to the character of God. Like, how do people live in a world where music exists and say that there is no God? Like, that's just, there's a disconnect there because that's not random. It's it's impossible to be random. Even in all of creation sings the glory of God, and music is a perfect example of that.
I have a question for you real quick.
Go ahead.
I myself am a fellow musician.
He is.
Or sort of one.
I've heard you're gooder than me.
I don't know about that. But when you made that decision, did you feel like, God, but I'm giving up what I love so much in this music?
Yeah.
And then that was restored to you at some point?
It was, and that's a good question. A lot of people that knew me before, I went to Nashville. I played with some really good groups. I've opened up for some really, really good groups, and they would ask me if I miss it. And the best way I can explain it is, of course I do.
Yeah.
Of course I miss it. But I miss living for God more.
Yeah.
It's not that I'll ever wish that it may have ended up differently.
Right.
Of course I do. But living for God and living a life where I know that I'm doing what He wants me to do is on a much higher scale than just to walk away again and pursue the music.
Yeah.
So I tell people I have more fun now.
Yeah.
It's much more cleaner now.
Yeah.
I do studio work. I don't have to worry about, a bunch of drunks. I don't have to worry about things that would get me in trouble. It's a lot more fun. I've been able to reach more lives this way. A quick example, we got a guy up north. He was a teenager. His mom come up to me and said, Jerry, Johnny thinks you're the world's greatest bass player. And I'm like, man, he's reaching the bottom of the barrel.
That's not what you said. You said, well, he is right.
Johnny is gooder and smarter.
And I think you even know Johnny Smith.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Johnny shows up at church with like 100 rubber bands in his hair, which I don't have a problem with. And, he'd show up with the Iron Maiden T-shirt. And he was that kind of. And she said he would love to learn how to play the bass guitar. And I said, I have no problem. He come up to me at church and he says, would you really teach me? I said, absolutely. He said, how much would you charge me? I said, I won't charge you nothing. He says, well, I got to do something. I said, you do. I said, I'd like you to one time just take all the rubber bands out of your hair. Replace the Iron Maiden T-shirt with maybe a nice white shirt and come to church.
Yeah. Wow.
The very next Sunday, he came to church, had beautiful hair. I mean, and he did. He had dress pants on. Long story short, this guy now is a big-time praise and worship leader up north playing piano. And so when I see that, you can understand when I say, yeah, I miss that Nashville and I miss playing Music 7. But when I look at Johnny, that's
Yeah.
so much better than
Absolutely.
pursuing the music. So
Yeah.
I just find it amazing when you have, obviously you're gifted, and then you learn that, oh wait, I can use this for God.
unbelievable. I didn't know it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't know it until I got back into church. And, the story about Johnny, there's another story about Johnny's brother. And then he came along, and this guy now is a fabulous guitar player.
Wow.
And plays in the church. And so I didn't even realize that I had that until I got back into church.
That's awesome.
It's funny, just a kind of a little family story. And I don't think I've shared this before, but if I have, Tyler, you can cut this out if you want.
Deal.
My Jerry's twin brother Larry really was the singer of the family. I mean, he had the voice, and when he was I think got out of high school, and the bread delivery guy that delivered bread to my mom's little neighborhood grocery store had a Southern Gospel quartet, and they were looking for a baritone singer, and my mom's like, my son sings baritone. And so Larry ends up singing in this group. Well, as they progress, they're like, their bass singer, he had to leave, whatever. And Larry's like, I have a brother that can sing bass. And so I start singing in the group. And then they needed a bass guitar player. And Larry's like, I've got this brother that can play bass guitar.
And they're like, how many brothers you have?
Well, then we wanted a drummer. And Larry's like, I have this brother, Ronnie, who could play drums. And we all ended up singing in this group together for a short period of time. And actually, original instruments were that Jerry and Ronnie were trumpet players, and me and Larry were trombone players. So we had the Southern Gospel Quartet that would sing, but then sometime in the set, if you will, we would break our horns out and do a little bit of what we called gospel brass at the time. But that was early in life, and then like Jerry's already said, he kind of made that departure, and Larry did too. Larry ended up going in the Marines for a while, and I don't know what happened to Ronnie. He just kind of disappeared off the scene. I don't know.
Went to the Christian Cavaliers.
That's what it was. That is what it was. He got tired of playing drums. He wanted to sing. Yeah. So he went singing with the Christian Cavaliers. But I just thought it was kind of cool. And it kind of all goes back to my mom again, like what Jerry said, that, she kind of made sure that it was in there. And then when there was this opportunity to push her boys, I got these boys that can all sing and play. And so that's how we ended up where we were at. Let me ask you, Jerry, what do you feel like, it's a kind of a double-edged question, what do you feel like has been your greatest success, if you want to put it that way, and your greatest struggle since coming back to the Lord? What's been the greatest joy, I guess, maybe put it that way, and the greatest struggle?
I think the greatest joy I've had coming back is, and this is going to really be odd, but understanding the Word.
Why, Jerry, that's odd.
I thought so. I have that hunger not just to read, but I want to understand it. And so that really has been the greatest joy to me. My hardest struggle, I would have to say, seeing family members that need to get right, including my own personal family. That's probably my hardest struggle.
Yeah. I'm sure it's hard to see. I mean, you're on the end that your mother was at.
Yeah.
Seeing people that you've poured into and that you love so dearly, making decisions that you've made yourself that will lead to destruction, but ultimately trusting in the Lord that He saves. It's that's all that you can do. You talked a little bit about Ronnie and his pastor, but is there any other people, and your mother obviously, but is there any other people or specific experiences that have been instrumental in your conversion or sanctification for that matter?
I'm surprised you didn't see this one coming. But obviously, the pastor's been...
Oh, she saw it.
Yeah. Obviously, the pastor's been a huge influence.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't know it, but me and the pastor weren't always. Is that fair?
I didn't know we were going there, but okay.
Is that fair to say?
No, it's
Yeah.
perfect to say. Yeah,
I always.
it's the truth.
It is
Yeah.
the truth.
I mean, maybe you can bounce off of this. When Jerry and Michelle, Jerry's wife Michelle, when they came to visit, I was shocked because we had a little season in our life when we weren't
Yeah.
really that close.
Right.
Now, overall in our lives, all 5 of us boys are close. I mean, to the point where when people refer to Betty and Dean's boys, it was always the Wagner boys because we were just always tight. But there was this season, for whatever reason, and if Jerry wants to throw it out there, he can, but we weren't. And so he came to visit, and I was like, this is great, okay. And then I called him, I don't know, a week later or something. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, we're praying about moving to South Point. I was like, what? You know, you don't even
Why?
like me. What are you doing? So it really, there was a season there.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 things there. First of all, and if someone's listening to the podcast, I'm sure that
There will be at least 15 people listening.
We're higher rated than Stephen Furtick.
I don't waste my time here. But when you're not living the right life and you've been raised that way, you always feel like the church people are judging you. And in short, I think that's kind of what happened with me and the pastor. When I would see him, and I know now that he wasn't, but when I would see him, he'd come into Indianapolis. I just felt like he was judging me. I don't want to be around this guy. He's judging me. He sees my earring. He sees the long hair. He knows he knows that I'm playing full time. He knows what I'm doing, and so I know he's not liking this, and he's just judging me, right? I realize now he wasn't. That was just Satan's way of keeping that separation going.
Yeah.
The part where me and Michelle moved around, I believe I've told you this before.
Well, I am 62.
Yeah. When we came here, I think it was the second trip. We was over in the funeral home. Me and her, you let us park the RV out in the
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me and Michelle had walked into the church, and I felt something as soon as I walked in. And I looked at her and I said, do you feel this? And she said, I do. I said, what are you thinking? And she goes, what are you thinking? And I said,
You say it first. No, you say it first.
and I
We'll
said,
say it at the same time on 3.
I said, Michelle, we need to go pray about this right now. And church hadn't even started.
Wow.
And so me and her went to the altar over the funeral home, and we prayed, and we got up, and I looked at her. I said, are you feeling it? And we haven't even discussed what we're feeling. And she said, yeah, I do. And
I think it's the burritos we ate last night.
should have filled that bag up. And when we left church, we finally got the chance to talk about it. And one of the amazing things was, again, we've not discussed what we're praying about. She said, it looks like we're coming here. I said, yeah, I think this is where God's calling us. And it was, I didn't see it coming because when we came, we weren't going to stay. We had a nice place up in Lake Station, Indiana, and that's where we were going to stay. That's where the business was. That's where I was working. So it was quite the surprise that God put on us that day.
Yeah, I bet.
Wow.
Yeah, and the funeral home that Jerry refers to it wasn't a funeral home when we were there.
Yeah.
It is now. It's the Wallace family funeral home. Now we'll be hitting Beth up for a little bit of advertising money. And that's where we had planted the church. That's where we started, and that's where Jerry and Michelle first came to, was over there.
Yeah.
So I knew that the Lord had to have been in that because, number one, I know you're not a flighty kind of guy that would just up and go for no reason.
And I mean, he's been here ever since.
He has.
Right. So
Can't get rid of him.
18 years,
Yeah.
17
A little over 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
November of 03, in case anyone's counting.
Wow.
So,
I didn't know that.
yeah, November of 03. It's really been an incredible ride, and I'm glad Jerry's been around to kind of experience it, because being here from those early days to see what the Lord's done from that time to now, I'm sure it has to give you some kind of a confirmation. Not that you would even need it, but confirmation of, yeah, we did the right thing so that we could be part of this.
I have no doubt that we did what the Lord led us to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. When you share your testimony with people, which we were kind of chatting before the producer got here, you said you don't.
I was on time, by the
you
way.
were.
They were early.
I did. I just said it was before you.
You made it seem like that. I came in here at the end.
Why are you so defensive right now, Allison?
Sorry.
Wow.
I think you're getting gooder at it.
I'm good.
And more smarter.
You might be the smartest of us all.
Oh no, there's no question. Well, I can't say about you, but
stop.
oh, that's right. We're interviewing Jerry, aren't we? I
Yes,
forgot.
yes,
I forgot. When you do get the opportunity to share your story with people about what God's done for you, I mean, what's your approach? How do you go about that? How do you even start that?
Well, real quick, in your answer, I want to hear about you speaking specifically to people who have experienced church hurt, because that obviously you said that was the catalyst for your leaving the church. And we've talked about this on the podcast before, but that's the reason that most people give when they talk about, leaving the faith. So if you were talking to someone who has experienced church hurt about your story, how would you, counsel them or encourage them?
What does catalyst mean?
It was the cause. The cause.
She's smarter.
I have since realized that church hurt, I believe, comes directly from Satan himself. And I think when I'm talking to someone that has gone through that, through a hurt, I try to get them to look past the hurt, because while they're stuck in that hurt, they're not seeing.
Yeah.
They're not seeing what God wants for their life.
Right.
Now it becomes a selfish thing.
Yeah.
What
My truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I'm talking to them, if you can get them, for me, if you can get them to look past that hurt and really open up their spiritual eyes and take a look around them and what's going on, I think most of the times people will see that hurt that came from the church really didn't come from the church. Now, I'm not saying it didn't come from an individual in that church, but that specific hurt did not come from the church itself.
Yeah.
And so if you can get them to look past that hurt, sometimes you can get them to actually see what's really going on, which is what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
And so when you do share that story, I mean, do you talk to people that you already know? I mean, I know that I guess it's okay. Maybe we could get another advertising thing that you drive for FedEx. FedEx, hello, big dollars.
Money.
Sponsor us.
We need to monetize. I mean, like people, employees that you work with. I mean, how do you, when you feel like the Lord is leading you to share your story or to witness, as we say to someone, what do you do?
I mean, that's what I do. I tell them my personal experience and how things began and where I was in the middle of it and how I knew it was coming to an end and that I needed to get back to what I knew was right. And so I use my own personal experience. There was a lot of turmoil in my life. Some turmoils I won't ever talk about. They were bad. I know the pastor says it. I think it goes, if you knew about me, what God knew about me, then you wouldn't want to be around me.
Yeah.
Oh, and thank you for joining us today.
and so, I try to put something real into that witness, something that that they can be familiar with, that they actually say, hey, that happened to me, or hey, I've gone through that. And so that I use my own personal testimony when I'm trying to get someone to come to church or just to give their life to God. I think personal experiences are probably the best way you can go. I know a lot about my personal experience.
Right, yeah. Nobody knows you better than you.
Yeah, that's right.
Except for maybe God.
Yeah, God knows me really good.
Yeah.
He do.
Yeah.
He do.
Yeah.
He knows you.
So you talked about how understanding and that hunger for Scripture was the greatest joy of your Christian life. So can you talk to us a little bit about your daily practice of those spiritual disciplines, specifically Bible reading and prayer?
I think we can all do more Bible reading.
Yes, sir. That's
I'm
true.
certainly not one that
Well, most everybody.
I think I try to get in the Word as much as I can. I wouldn't say it's every day, but it's pretty close. I think when I'm reading now, when I see something or I read something that I don't quite understand, I stop right there and begin to pray. And I believe, and this is just a personal opinion, but I believe that God has put such a hunger for understanding the Word that what I read when I was a teenager growing up in the church and what my brother Terry used to read, when we were 9 years old at 5:30 in the morning, and what I would hear in Sunday school, it means a whole different ball game now.
Yeah.
When you actually start studying the Word, there are so many things that are quite the opposite of what I believed when I was growing up. And that's part of my desire to get in the Word and to chase after God every day, is I want to make sure that I understand what He's saying to me.
Yeah.
I want to understand the directions that He's given me. And it's amazing to me the difference between just opening up the Word and reading so that you can go on about your day and say, hey, I read. And then being able to open it up and say, no, I don't want to just read this.
Yeah.
I really have a desire to want to understand it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's so true, and it just goes to show how that the Word is living and active, because the words that you read as a child and the difference that you talked about, it's not a regular book.
No.
Like there's so much to it, and so such richness that we can draw from it, and it's just a grace from God to have His literal words to speak to us, because I think that so many people struggle with I want to hear God speak. I want God to speak to me.
Yeah.
And they'll pray and they'll be like, I just feel like I'm talking to a wall. I just feel like I can't hear anything back. But they're not in the Word.
Right.
Like God has spoken, and it's right in front of us, and it's for our edification, profitable for teaching, for good work, for correction, and for training in righteousness, that the man of God may be complete and equipped for every good work. So Scripture is for us, and I don't think that believers utilize that enough. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, unfortunately, in culture and society that we live in, it's just become, so easy to let somebody else read the Bible to them. We have our apps on the phone that'll read it to you. You go to church, they put on the screens. And I think we need a good old-fashioned reformation of getting back in the Word.
Yeah. Be people of the book.
Yeah, Eric Wall filled in for me this past Sunday. I was out of town with our youth group, and
He did an awesome job.
yeah, he did. I didn't listen to the very beginning of the broadcast when Amanda and Ben said they were Vicky and I stunt doubles, but better looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do something about that.
I have to tell church discipline.
But Eric said something at the very beginning of his message that he said, if you have your Bibles with you, turn to, I don't remember what his reference was, but he made the reference. He said, or you can just trust what I put on the screen is right.
Yeah.
And I thought, how
appropriate.
appropriate, convicting, and real. I mean, that's just, it's unfortunate that we've become, I don't want to,
Lazy.
I was going to say lazy,
Yeah.
but how could you not use the word
Right,
lazy?
consumer culture.
Yeah.
Just feed me.
Yeah, exactly.
Just put it up on the screens, and I'll just eat it.
Right. That'll be enough.
Right.
That'll be. I can go to church
Right.
this week and it'll be enough to last me the entire
I can
week.
feel good about the fact that, I read the Bible.
Yeah.
It was on
Exactly,
the screen.
Exactly.
Hello.
Or even, like what Jerry was saying, I can read in the morning, oh, I did my reading today. I
Right.
should be good.
Yeah.
And my pastor used this illustration in his sermon yesterday. He was saying how Christians like to view themselves as gas-powered machines rather than electrically charged machines, where we can fill up our tank and then we can do the rest on our own, and we can go back and fill it up again whenever we need it, instead of I need to constantly be plugged into the source to receive the power to do those things. It's not we fill up our tank and then we get to do the work. It's we are constantly being plugged into Christ, and he supplies that need.
Was his sermon sponsored by Tesla?
No.
Come on.
He
Come on.
even said he prefers gas-powered machines. Like that's just the reality of it.
I mean,
though,
if he got them to sponsor him, I need to know how he did
that'd be
that.
he did it,
nice.
yeah.
It'd be real nice.
Because we have a FedEx driver
Yeah.
in the room.
Exactly.
Hello.
I need to clarify that.
Oh, yeah. You don't really work
I
for.
I work for a company that is. I'm a senior manager for a company that is contracted to pull for FedEx Ground.
There you go.
Fancy.
Okay.
You want
Schmancy.
to put a plug in for him? Go ahead. Maybe they can pay
If you
us
have
too.
your CDO, years of experience, please give me a call.
Oh man. Anyways, you have anything else, BT?
I think I love my brother. I mean, always have, and it is, what Jerry was saying as far as sometimes light and darkness. This thing just doesn't mesh, and I think that we did go through that season. But there's never been a time that I didn't love Jerry. Love all my brothers.
Right.
I love hanging out with my family and being around them. And I think his testimony is one that the Lord powerfully uses when needed, when the Lord wants him to do it. And I know he's not afraid to do it. And he says he would rather express his relationship with God through his music. But the truth of the matter is, full disclosure, I stayed away from the book of Revelation all of my ministry because it's just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And Jerry and Michelle taught a class here on a Sunday school class, I think it was, and that's what they covered was the revelation of Jesus Christ. And I thought, this guy really knows what he's doing, So he's got the smarts, he's got it in there. But I also understand that the Lord uses us all in different ways, and music is definitely one of those. So I just appreciate him coming in, and I know in just a few minutes he's got to go to work.
Yeah.
No, I don't work tonight.
You don't work tonight?
Oh, hey.
Wow. Well, part 2 coming up.
Keep you here for another hour. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much, Jerry, for coming in. We really
thanks.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
If
Jer.
I could just add this.
Yeah, of
I
course.
think that a person's relationship with Christ really depends on the effort that they want to put into it. You have people that just don't want to put a lot of effort into it, and they're probably not going to get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
But those that really seek and search, I guarantee you,
Yes. He's faithful.
he'll be faithful for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. I agree.
Absolutely.
We agree.
I thought he was laying the groundwork for part 2 for real. That's how.
Join us next season
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
talk about this.
Talk to
No,
Jerry
we might
again.
bring you back, Jerry, to talk about
There you
a
go.
topic again.
And she's the producer,
Hey.
so we do whatever
Oh
she
yeah.
tells us.
Make
Oh
that
yeah.
call.
I'd
I
be
could do-
happy to.
Good. But thank you all so much for joining us again as we're wrapping up this season. It's been such a special time. Please, go back and listen to the other interviews that we've done. They've all been super, super great. And we will see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.